Hello, my friend. Stay a while and listen.
What's going on, guys? It's Filthy and I'm back with another video. Today we're looking at Pestilance Speed Farm. Can get this up to kind of like 90, but the PTR is pretty laggy and yeah, it's just a bit annoying, so I thought we'll drop it a few GRs and try and make it a bit easier for me to talk and film. So this is basically Lord Fluffy's Blood and Essence Necromancer. He is really good necro content creator. I love his videos. I wish he made more of them, to be honest. But it's basically that build with the new items stuffed in. So the way it works is we've got Pestilence with Devour on Numlock, so we're auto-consuming corpses, which is why we've got corpse lances flying everywhere. We've got the Reaver in the cube, which is doing all the lifting on the cooldown, which is why Land of the Dead is coming back like absolutely crazy. We've got command skeletons in the build, which are numlocked, and we're going to use the new Jaseth set, so that's giving us 400% extra damage, and then we're basically using Frailty on the curse to basically proc our passive to give us extra cooldown. So it is a super cooldown heavy build. Occasionally you get to bits like this where it's a bit annoying because we've run out of density. Land of the Dead is now not available, so we're probably going to die now. Just have to run away. Might just get it back in time. Yeah, there we go, saved our bacon. So we've got Wrathman's Shield, so we're invulnerable for a few seconds after the Land of the Dead has been cast. But basically this just relies on density. If you get good density, like all the builds with the Reaver on the Necro, you'll get Land of the Dead back pretty quickly, and then you can just kind of saunter around. Now it's slightly lazier than the original build that Fluff did, because for that one you definitely had to curse stuff for it to get the damage mod from the Stragul's Corroded Fang, whereas because we're using the Jaseth set, we just need the skeletons commanded on the bar. I've also lashed in the new Stone of Jordan, because what I've found is that it is certainly elites that are the biggest problem for this build. So the Reaver is completely indiscriminate. It does not care whether you're attacking small little enemies like this or that elite over there. A kill is worth 1 second on your cooldowns. So the Stone of Jordan helps out because it gives us the elemental damage but also the extra elite damage. But yeah, this is obviously pretty fun. Again, the downside, the reason that maybe could put some people off is if you don't have Land of the Dead up, you can't actually do any damage, you can't even attack. And Stone of Jordan will help out with Juggernaut as well, because obviously it'll be a little bit of extra damage. So can we get the Rift Guardian without popping Land of the Dead? Yeah. So there we go, that wasn't too bad, was it? Right, so let's turn Numlock off. So we're going to be taking 5 pieces of Pestilence and we're going to mix it with the Crimson set. So the 2-piece, which is why we see loads of corpse lances flying around everywhere, is because whenever we consume a corpse, we fire a corpse lance. So with Devour on Numlock, with the Cannibalize rune, basically we get a sustain from consuming the corpses, and they fire out the corpse lance. Now obviously without corpses you can't consume them, and the main way of getting corpses is with Land of the Dead, because this gives us infinite corpses whilst it's up. So without this we can't attack, we can't do any damage at all, so that is the drawback. Now the 4-piece gives us 50% damage reduction. Whenever we hit with corpse lance we get this up to 50% DR lasting 15 seconds. It should never drop off, so it's just damage mitigation. Now the 6-piece on PTR has been changed. We've got a fairly decent sized increase to the corpse lance damage. Forget the bone spear, we don't worry about that. Corpse lance has its damage increased to 3,300, which is a fairly sizable increase. Now all we're doing basically is just juicing up corpse lance as much as we can. So we've got the Corpse Whisper Pauldrons in the cube. These give up a stacking effect up to 600%, so once you consume a corpse you start getting stacks of this. And again, if you get good density and you're just flipping through Land of the Dead, it shouldn't drop off and it hits pretty hard. Now we're also taking Crimsons because we just want cooldown, so this gives us 20% extra, and it also gives us an extra damage mod based on our cooldown. So if we get cooldown just like everywhere we can, gloves, shoulders, weapon, shield, necklace. I don't have it on either ring, so it would be beneficial for me to get them. but I just can't be bothered to sit here re-rolling everything. I'd much rather play the game. So yeah, more cooldown is more damage, and more cooldown obviously means Land of the Dead gets back quicker. Now the Reaver really does lots of the heavy lifting, because even with, let's say, sheet CDR of like 60%, then we've still got quite a long time before Land of the Dead will be back, and that's where the Reaver comes in, because whenever we kill something, it will funnel a proc, hopefully back into Land of the Dead, and obviously if you can kill 40-50 enemies, you can get 40-50 seconds off your Land of the Dead cooldown, and that allows you to pop it again, even though it's only got a short 10-second window. So that's kind of how that mechanic works. We've got the Rogue in the cube to make up the 6-piece bonus from Pestilance, and also the 3-piece from Crimson's. And then again, we're taking the reworked Jester set. So this used to buff only pet damage, it now buffs everything. So because we have command skeletons on them lock, they should always be commanded. They will jump from target to target anyway with this effect, and it just basically means we get 400% extra damage. So pretty nice, probably the biggest multiplier that we can actually squeeze in. Crispin's staple necro item, we get more damage against slowed enemies, triple this effect against any hard CC. Land of the Dead provides us with a freeze, so that counts as the hard CC, which is great. So whenever Land of the Dead is up, everything other than Juggernaut is getting absolutely hammered by the Crispin sentence. Stone of Jordan, again this is another reworked item for PTR. It's quite nice because it means we can be flexible with our elements, so provided we just match them on the ring, on the bracer and on the necklace, the effect is the same. So I've got poison here and poison here. I'm actually using Cold Lance, but if we go to the character sheet, we'll see that we've got cold, poison and physical are all the same. So in theory you could get up to 60% here, so that would be a fairly sizable damage increase if I could get a squirts with matching elemental damage. So as I say, just has to be the same element on all three. Whilst we're here on squirts, obviously this gives double damage, but we can't be hit. If we get hit, then this will drop off, and we also suffer the negative effect, which is we take an extra 50% damage. So we're still pretty squishy, and obviously again depends on the map. Some things will fire elemental stuff to you that you won't be able to get out of the way of, or you won't see. Some things can spawn stuff on the ground. You know, this will just drop off from time to time, but the idea is that the more you kind of hang back and go from a distance, then the better you'll be. That also pairs really well with the Xystone Vengeance gem, so again the further away we are, the more damage we're going to do. And then other gems, Gogok of Swiftness to beef up the cooldown even more, give us some attack speed, which is very important because Corpse Lance breakpoints are 1.5, then 1.71 and then 2 attacks per second. Now with the Gogok of 15 stacks we get another 15% attack speed, so if I just pop on this ring here with 7% attack speed, I know I'm getting over the next breakpoint, so I only have to be at half stacks for the Gogok and then I'm into that next breakpoint, and I can't quite get to 2 attacks per second. I think I'd probably need maybe attack speed on gloves and maybe on ring and then on the Gogok as well. Let's see what else. Bane of the Trapped, flat damage increase pretty much in every build in the game. So again, the Land of the Dead will handle this. It will basically free stuff and Bane of the Trap gets applied as well. Cooldown gem in the helm, obviously pushing that cooldown figure as high as we can. Damage gems in the chest and also in the pants to beef up the damage. Corpse Lance damage, definitely you want to get this on your chest piece, and you also really want to get it on your shoulders. You want cooldown and Corpse Lance damage on both of those. I haven't found a pair yet, and as I say, I've got too many builds to test to sit here reforging, so I haven't bothered. Been a bit lazy, so sorry about that. Right here, let's have a look at the skills. Frailty, Early Grave. This basically is here to eke out a little bit more damage with Spreading Malediction, because we get 1% damage bonus for each cursed enemy. So if you can curse like as many enemies as you can see, then you're getting a little bit of extra damage. But mainly it's here to proc Blood is Power, so after we lose 100% of our life we get 20% extra CDR, so that is basically 10 presses of this. So if you pop this 10 times you will activate Blood is Power. That's obviously not including any incoming damage, it's not including any health spent from Blood Rush, so what you'll find is you probably only have to use this about 5 or 6 times and you'll get that jump in the CDR on your Land of the Dead. Corpse Lance, Bristle Touch, this just helps out with tougher enemies, so like Rift Guardians, Juggernauts, because it's got this stacking crit effect. So the idea is that each time the Corpse Lance hit, the crit chance goes up and up and up until it gets to 100%, and every crit in Corpse Lance obviously does more damage. So in terms of stats wise, focus more on crit damage than crit chance, I'd say. The skeletons are on Numlock, so we want to bring the essence cost down. We've got frailty costing essence, we've got this costing essence, and they're just there basically to do the proc for the Jester. That's the only reason we're using them. Now you can take Zodiac, that's what Fluff does in his original build. As I say, I just thought I'll use the Stone of Jordan because it's new and I like new things. Devour Cannibalize on Numlock, this is consuming the corpses, which is firing the Corpse Lances. 3% heal obviously is handy. Sometimes we do take damage, we do need to pump ourselves back up. Land of the Dead Frozen Lands, freeze the screen, unlimited corpses, means Devour goes off and the Corpse Lances fire everywhere, which is great. And then Blood Rush. I've gone for Molting just because I find that we can get to the 100% Blood is Power with the early grave pretty quickly. But by all means, you can put this on to Metabolism, get an extra charge and double the health cost. But obviously, again, it's more kind of Reaver procs going away from Land of the Dead because you can fill this up to 2 charges. Passives, Final Service. Sometimes you'll be caught with your pants down, you won't have Land of the Dead available, you'll activate it, go down the wrong corridor, have to double back on yourself, there'll be nothing to kill, the Reaver won't activate, you're then going to wait for this to come back. Having a cheat death is pretty handy. Wrathman's Shield, again, as we saw in the footage there, if we can get onto a good map with really good density, you can just flip Land of the Dead constantly, and then Wrathman's Shield will make you immortal for 4 seconds, you can't take any damage, so then in those circumstances you're relying a lot on frailty to proc Blood is Power, but you know, as I say, you get cooldown Pylon, that's pretty much immortal because you'll be able to flip Land of the Dead every 4 seconds, which is crazy, given it's on a 2-minute cooldown, but yeah, it's pretty good passive. Blood is Power we've covered, 20% more cooldown, and as I said earlier, Spreading Malediction, just a little bit of extra damage. So that's pretty much it, guys. It's pretty easy to play, it's pretty fun, you just need to make sure that you're trying to keep your squirts up as you can, and you're numlocking Devour, numlocking Skeletons. I'll put a link to Fluff's guide on Numlock just in case you don't know how to do that, and other than that you just basically press Frailty a few times and Land of the Dead whenever it's off cooldown, and that's pretty much it, and the screen just gets murdered, so pretty good. So that's it, guys. I'm not sure if you could ever convert this into a push build. Maybe you could, maybe you could take a Nares in the cube, or maybe a Shadow Hook and try and work in the new Haunted Visions somewhere, maybe dropping the Stone of Jordan, all those kind of like necro push styles where you rely on a damage window. They don't float my boat at all, so it's not something I'm majorly keen to test, but maybe we'll do, depends. We've got a few things on PTR still left to do. So that is the build, guys. I hope you like it. I'll be back with some more Season 21 PTR content just as soon as I can. Take it easy. Peace.
Hi.